accordance with our standard procedures. And updates will become available as we get more information. So I want to walk you through some things here. We're going to go through the surveillance video of the robbery, give you the 911 call, and then the body-worn camera video. Let's go ahead and start with the Dollar General. You're going to see it in real time, and then we will slow it down. So the suspect is in the orange shirt at the bottom. You can see the store clerks take the stuff that he was stealing from him. He will enter back into the picture and brandishes a firearm. You can see in a different footage, different angle, they throw the stuff that he originally stole to him because he pulled a firearm on him. So now we will play a portion of the 911 call after the robbery. And this is an edited version for time reasons. You will be able to hear we will make it available, the entire 911 call if you want it.
Tampa 911, what is the location of your emergency?
3110 North 50th Street.
Okay. Is that a house or an apartment?
It's Dollar General. There's a man with a gun here. He's driving up.
Black and white, synthetic?
Black, orange shirt. Ma'am, come in here, please. Come in here. Ma'am, hey, in here. Now, everybody in here now. Come on. Get in. It's only 3110 North 50th Street.
Okay.
Man with a gun. Black man, orange shirt. Excuse me?
Is he out front?
I think I heard off. You ready to go? And kill someone out? You could have left. You got a gun on him.
Was he inside?
Now, if you heard, he said we ran into the office. When he was directing everyone to come in, he's trying to get people out of the store into the office for safety reasons. So from the immediate call to about 5 minutes later, north of the store, is when officers encountered him. We'll go over to body-worn camera footage and then we will slow it down for you. Again, this is about 5 blocks north of the Dollar General.
Tampa police to the ground! Tampa police to the ground! All state's got one at gunpoint. 50th Street. Sit on the ground! From your head! Get here! Drop the gun!
You see he turns
Drop the gun! Got a gun!
towards the officer.
Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop the gun!
He turns back again. And that's where we stop the video. Let's do some slow motions and we'll show, if we slow it down, it's blurry, but you'll see that there's a firearm in his hand. It's right in here where this black mark is. So, as you can see, the officers tell him to drop his weapon multiple times. The officers fired their weapon, striking him. They immediately began providing first aid and requested for fire to respond. Tampa Fire arrived at the scene and transported him to the hospital, where he was later pronounced deceased. So you can see how quickly everything happened today from the Dollar General store until how things ended. Does anyone have any questions?
Did he fire his weapon, do you know yet?
Right now, it does not appear that he is fired. We're still waiting on a response from FDLE, but there's no indication that he fired them.
Can you say how many times he was struck and if one officer?
Until we get the medical examiner and FDLE gives that information, we don't know. And both officers did fire, but we don't know who struck them.
It seems like he had no regard for anyone. He walks into the store, pulls a gun, and then your officers tell him over and over again to drop the weapon, and he just kind of goes about his way and then points it at him. What do you say to that kind of behavior?
You know, it's a very strange circumstance where you watch him putting things into a bag. They take the bag from him, and then he comes back and pulls a gun on him. So it's a very strange situation, which most of these are. It makes you wonder what his mindset, what was happening. You know, the whole thing is tragic, and I think that's what we have to remember when it comes to these police shootings. These are tragedies. We had two officers who went through a very traumatic event. We have someone who has died. We had innocent store, you know, whether it be clerks and customers there, and now we have families that got to put the pieces back together. So the whole thing is tragic.
Chief, what kind of gun and was it loaded that did happen?
I don't know what type of gun. We're still waiting to hear back from FDLE, but I was told it was loaded.
Can you
How many
say
shots did your officers fire?
We don't know that. That's still under review with FDLE.
How
We
many
we counted at least, there were evidence markers on the ground numbering to at least the number 30. And so would that indicate that those would be 30 bullet casings on the ground?
No, it could have been a variety of items. So I don't know. I did see a magazine out there from a firearm, so I don't know what, you know, they'll mark various things. So you can't look at that and say we're shell casings.
Mr. Mulkey's stepfather told us that he was very upset. And he wanted to know why officers, I asked him if he had any questions for the police department. He wanted to know why officers fired so many times, his words, at his stepson.
Yeah, you know, until our investigation is complete, I can't answer that.
Is it standard protocol for officers to open fire in a situation like this?
Well, each situation is different. So I guess the answer is it depends. You know, if he had a firearm and they thought their life was in danger or someone else's life in danger, then they would be able to use deadly force. So I can't answer that question. It would just have to be, it depends on what their mind frame, what they were thinking at the time.
And how are the officers? I know earlier you said they were physically okay, but what's this like for them to have to go through all of this?
You know, it's very traumatic. They're very shaken. I think these are troubling times right now where no police officer ever wants to use deadly force, but especially in these circumstances. So they were very shaken.
Last question.
You can see where it just happened so quickly.
Can you say anything about the items he was trying to steal and if he, was getting anything of value? It looked like he had like a box of Cheez-Its.
It was hard for me to tell. I only know what was in the video because FDLE is now doing the investigation. So until they're able to go through what was inside that bag, I can't comment on it. I can only speculate like you did as to what we saw in the video.
Are you able to kind of walk us through the events though chronologically?
I'm
Are you
sorry.
able to walk us through the events chronologically of when he came to the store and did
Well,
he?
okay, that's what I was trying to do. So
Right.
at 9:20, he went in, we got the 911 call.
Mhm.
So just prior to that was the Dollar General video, then the 911 call, and 5 minutes later, the officers encountered him about 5 blocks north of
Okay.
there.
And do you know when?
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Do
Can
you
you
know
just
when?
confirm the spelling of his name?
Yeah, I'll give you the name.
Yeah. Do you know when Tampa Fire showed up? Is my last question. When he was taken.
So the spelling of the name is Dominique, Dominque, Mulkey, Mulkey. Date of birth is March 23rd, 1994. Thank you.
Thank you.
Janelle? about when he was taken to the hospital, you know?
He was taken immediately right to the
Sorry.
hospital.
Okay, I just didn't know
Sorry.
when
still
TFR
going on?
showed up.